why the whole question here seems to be whether or not there's theism and there's atheism, and is there a God and there isn't a God. Why doesn't he just let us know? What is his motive for keeping us all in big suspense about it and wondering if there is or if there isn't? Why doesn't he just, on a day-to-day basis, give us solid proof? What is his motive for keeping us in this paradox of wondering? Is he so cruel to make us wonder and have to go on a leap of faith all the time to wonder if he exists or doesn't? I don't understand why he doesn't just show us.
Okay.
2,000 years ago, maybe now we have a million choices of what to believe. All of these religions with all the same amount of evidence, all of them have a book. Everyone's telling us something different. Why doesn't it, though, whatever it is, tell us it again? Is it a one-time thing? We missed it?
Ma'am, anthropology shows us that every culture has some type of belief in God. Obviously, God has left more than enough evidence for any thinking Homo sapien to believe that God exists.
Why is Jesus the one?
Okay, why is Jesus? Jesus has given more than enough evidence that he's reliable. That evidence is a sinless life, incredible ethical teachings, loving his enemies who nailed him to a cross, but most importantly, a resurrection from the dead.
Then none of us have gotten a chance to have the privilege to witness. None of us have gotten any sort of contact with that. None of us had that grace to put into our lives. We just have to go on what other people say, and it seems so unfair that everyone else got this privilege, and we have to just guess and just say, I guess that's right. Especially for people that weren't born into Christianity and have to say, no, what I was taught was wrong, this guy was right.
Ma'am, historical knowledge is a legitimate form of knowledge. I never met George Washington, but eyewitness testimony is clear. George Washington lived, was inaugurated first president of the United States. You pay a fair amount of money to study history. It's not scientific knowledge, obviously. Scientific knowledge is based on the repeatability of an experiment. But historical knowledge is a legitimate form of knowledge. It's based on the eyewitness testimony of someone who saw George Washington. Now, in the Gospels, we have 4 different accounts of people who saw Jesus.
They were written decades later.
No, they weren't. They were written very soon after the fact. 1 Corinthians is written in 51, 52 AD. And in 1 Corinthians 15, Paul writes, what I received, I passed on to you as of first importance, that Christ died for our sins according to the Scriptures, that he was buried, that he was raised to life according to the Scriptures. Paul's writing in 50, 51, 52 AD. It's pretty close. It's 20 years from the fact, in 30 AD.
It just doesn't seem like it would take too much time out of God's schedule to show us again, to give us some more proof, to help us believe again.
To tell you the truth, ma'am, I'm very unimpressed with a young man who, after a young lady has looked into his face and said, I love you, he says, oh yeah? Prove it. Go to bed with me. I find that to be crass manipulation. Similarly, whenever I approach God, I better have the humility to say, God, you reveal yourself as you choose, not as I stipulate. The attitude, God, you have to reveal yourself this way, is the height of human arrogance. I was at Michigan State University, and it was getting kind of cloudy and beginning to drizzle. And a student stepped out of the crowd and said, Cliff, it's real simple. God, if you exist, part the clouds, shine a shaft of sunlight on me, and I'll believe. And furthermore, I'm giving you 60 seconds. Go. 59, 58, 57. And I'd look that young Michigan State freshman in the face and say, sir, all I'm impressed with is your manipulative arrogance. God doesn't have to play your game with you. God is God. The question for you and for me as human beings is, are we going to genuinely, sincerely search for God, or are we going to run away from God?